He opens the shop at 7 a.m., same key, same lock that's stuck for 30 years, same bell above the door that announces every customer before he sees their face. 3 chairs. He's only ever used one. He's cut hair in this shop since he was 26. He's 58 now. He remembers birthdays, divorces, first jobs, funerals, sometimes better than the people living through them. His hands move without thinking, the way a man's hands move after 30,000 haircuts. 18 years ago. A regular, an accountant who came in every third Thursday, mentioned an index fund between snips of scissors. He asked a few questions. He didn't seem interested, or so the accountant thought. 2 weeks later, he opened an account with $3,000, the only real savings he had. He never told the accountant he'd done it. He never told anyone. He kept cutting hair the next morning like nothing happened. Because as far as anyone in that shop could tell, nothing had. Every few months. Another customer drops a piece of advice between the buzz of clippers. A stock, a sector, a warning about something overpriced. He listens more than he talks, which customers mistake for simple friendliness. It isn't. He's building something out of 100 small conversations nobody else remembers having. The shop rent goes up. He raises his prices by exactly $1, same as always, and absorbs the rest himself without telling his landlord he could buy the building outright if he wanted to dot by year 9. His account crosses $700,000. He finds out on a Tuesday between clients, glances at his phone for 4 seconds, and calls the next name on the book. Nobody in the waiting chairs notices anything different about his face. His wife knows there's some money put away. She doesn't know the number. Not really. He's never wanted her worrying about protecting something instead of living normally. His own brother, who runs a struggling auto shop 2 blocks over, has no idea his brother could quietly clear his debt without noticing the difference in his own life. By year 14, he's crossed $8 million. He tells exactly one person, an old friend from barber school, over coffee, the kind of conversation that only happens once in a friendship. His friend goes quiet, then asks, "Why are you still cutting hair?" He says, "Because I'm good at it." That's true. It's also not the whole answer. In his 18th year at the chair, a longtime customer, a mechanic named Ruiz, who's been coming in every second Saturday for over a decade, sits down looking different than usual, quieter. He mentions, almost in passing, that his daughter needs surgery the insurance won't fully cover. $22,000. He says it the way men say things they don't want asked about twice. He keeps cutting, listening, doing math that has nothing to do with the haircut. He knows exactly what that number means to Ruiz, 3 months of missed mortgage payments, maybe more. He knows exactly what it means to him, less than a bad week in the market, a number he wouldn't notice moving. He doesn't sleep well that week. Not because of the money was never the hard part. The hard part is what happens to 30 years of an ordinary friendship the moment Ruiz finds out the man who cuts his hair could have paid for the surgery. Without blinking, he calls a hospital billing office 2 towns over, one with no connection to Ruiz's name, and sets up an anonymous payment through a fund his accountant, the very customer who started all of this 18 years ago, helps him structure quietly. The hospital tells Ruiz's family the balance has been covered by a community assistance program. Ruiz mentions it in the chair 2 weeks later, still confused, grateful to nobody in particular because there's no name attached. He doesn't correct him. He just nods, finishes the fade, and tells him to come back in 3 weeks. He goes home that night and doesn't mention it to his wife either. She asks how work was. He says fine. It's the truest thing he's said all week, in a way she still doesn't fully understand. The shop opens the next morning at 7 a.m., same key, same stuck lock, same bell above the door. Ruiz comes in for his regular cut a few weeks later, mentions his daughter's doing well after surgery. He asks a few questions, cuts the hair, says he's glad to hear it. That part isn't a lie either. He never told anyone what sits in that account. He never will. He didn't build it to be somebody. He built it so that one ordinary Saturday, a man in his chair could talk about his daughter's surgery in the past tense instead of the future. That Saturday came. Nobody clapped. He just swept the floor and called the next name on the book.